Where do you get the desire to be a mercy giver? Anyone ask that question? Here's what I do, and I think this is what scriptures teach. When I feel myself distancing myself from people who are lonely or needy or messed up and they need help, and instead of meeting the need, what I end up doing, like a lot of us in this room, I push back, I isolate myself. What do I do in those moments? Because 90% of the reason why you do that, 90% of the reason why you push back and you don't give mercy is because you feel as though your problems are unsolvable. You feel as though your problems are the biggest problems in the world. You're far too self-absorbed to be a merciful person. That's why we don't do it. So how do you get out of that self-absorption? How do you die to self-pity? What do you do? If you want to die to self, look to Christ. If you want to die to the magnitude of your problems, if you want your problems to look like tiny problems, meditate on the suffering of Jesus Christ. Meditate on the quality of His suffering, that He who is one with the Father, who is more intimate to God the Father than your most intimate relationship. Meditate on the fact that He was cut off, forsaken, crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Meditate on the quality of His suffering, that He was separated from God the Father because He was absorbing the justice of God. He was absorbing the penalty for our sin onto Himself. Meditate on that. Think about that. Meditate on what it cost Him leaving heaven, coming down to earth, taking on human flesh, not because it was a good idea, but because it was the only way that He could save a rebellious, sinful humanity. Think about how much it cost Him that He had to take on human flesh so that He could suffer the worst thing that human flesh has to offer, which is a terribly painful death on a Roman cross at the hands of two merciless systems, Jewish and Roman. Think about it. Think about it. Meditate on it. Chew on it. And when you do that, it will melt you. And when you begin to see the cup of suffering that Jesus drank, you begin to realize, my cups are very small. They're very small cups. These are teeny tiny cups compared to the cup that Jesus drank for me. And yet, even given the magnitude of the cup of His suffering, He persevered. Even given that He was sweating sweat drops of blood in the garden, He said, Lord, not my will, but yours be done. Even though it cost Him everything, even though it was the most unimaginable suffering possible, He still went, He still died, He still paid the price, He still absorbed the justice. And He did it so that He could give me mercy. He did it as an act of mercy. And if He did that for me, how dare I withhold myself from these people who need mercy? Meditate on the gospel. Let it melt you, and then give mercy.